Hello, everyone. We'll be back with you in just a moment to start the Master Your Marketing. Get it up and going. Recording in progress. That is exactly what I want to hear. So, with that, I'm Lynn Hamilton, your lead instructor here at Samson Properties, to bring you this session of Master Your Marketing. Now, as you may recall or remember, or if you're brand new here, this may be the first time you hear it. We are taking this 2:30 slot to take a deeper dive into the marketing department of your real estate business. And with that, we every session, every week, we look at a different topic and take a deep dive into it. The good, the bad, what works, what doesn't, why, how come, all those variables. So in this session, we are going to talk about marketing with open houses, good, better, best. And I've got my handout from our full class that we've done on open houses. And that is where we're going to jump in, and that's where we're going to start. Then I absolutely want to hear from you guys as to what you are experiencing right now in the early spring of, I'm pushing spring. All right. Spring of 2025. What are you seeing in terms of open houses in your footprint? So let's take a moment and take a deeper dive into some of this. So hopefully you have all had a chance to go through and work your way through and complete the tasks that are engaged and involved in Jumpstart sessions 1, 2, 3, and 4. They are designed to be taken in order. Donnie has always said if he could make it mandatory, he would. Even when I've had seasoned agents who have come back to me and said, oh my God, I went through that. I learned some stuff. I've been in the business 20, 25, 30 years. Met a gal the other day, has been in the business 33 or 34 years. She listened and went through Jumpstart. And she said, oh my God, there was some great tools in there, stuff that I had never heard and I never had engaged in my business. So again, the purpose of it is to give you a stronger foundation in which to build off of. Jumpstart session 1 and 2 is about the business. 3 is about your database, and 4 is about the marketing department of your business. Within the marketing department of your business, there are 24 possible options. You can call them pillars, tires, whatever you want to refer to them as, posts that will hold up the marketing department of your business. I've always learned, always did, and now always teach, do not put all your eggs in one basket. Because if something happens that you trip and fall, or that basket bottom breaks out, you got nothing. And, over time, as the market does major shifts or whatever, I've seen agents go absolute into panic and meltdown because the one pillar that they had is now starting to go away and they've got nothing. And we're in absolute meltdown and panic, which again is why when I use the reference back in 08, 09, when the market went up and the market came crashing down, nobody told me it crashed. I missed it. I totally missed it. Why? Because I had learned a particular technique. Again, I'm going to give credit where credit is due. The late Todd Bates in Master Your Marketing. He, at this workshop of about 300 people, there was probably only about a half a dozen real estate agents in there. He explained the concept of recession-proof marketing. And this is what I teach you guys. We take the 5 things that happen in a person's life that changes the need, not the want, but the need for where they're going to live. And with that, 1 or 2 of my pillars were always in a line with those specifics. So from there, I never felt the hit. I never felt the total collapse of the market. I knew it was doing stuff out there, but I never got the hit. So this is why I want you guys to understand in the marketing department of your real estate business, there are 24 avenues of things that can be done. You are not going to be doing them all. I want you to do not be a jack of all trades and a master of none. If you say, you know what, obviously your first pillar, tire, post, whatever you're going to call it, is always your database. learn how to build that database out. We've got all the classes and all the support structure already in place to help you do that. If you say, okay, you know what, I really like open houses, great. I'm going to make sure that you've analyzed your footprint and then given you every tool, technique, idea, concept that is available out there that we know works to help you build out to a good, better, best open house. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, if you come back to me and you look at that list of 24 things and you go, you know what? I would really like to do first time home buyers. There you go. We're going to make sure that you've got every tool and technique that's already mapped out and at your fingertips to be able to excel in that. For sale by owner, same thing. Move down sellers, move up buyers, 24 options. We cover that in Jumpstart session 4. And these afternoon sessions on Thursdays are taking a deeper dive into, one at a time, all of those possible pillars, posts, tires, whatever, and taking a deeper dive and look into them. Okay. So let's talk about the open houses. First thing I want you to do, if open houses hit your hot button, realize you can do, well, let me put it this way. You don't have to do just 1 or 2 open houses a week. If you're wanting to really just run with this, there's nothing that says you can't do 2, 3, 4, 5 open houses a week. Yes, I said that. A week. Now, it's a possibility. It can be done because you don't have to always do them on Saturday and Sundays. That is primarily the day, but also look around the area. If you know that that property that you're, considering doing an open house at has the most gorgeous sunset, I'd be doing one in the evening at sunset. Thursday nights, Friday nights, not a bad option. Monday, Tuesday, you can do them then too, after work hours for the majority of people that are in that area or would be looking in that area. Saturdays and Sundays as well. You can do one in the morning, 11 to 1, and you can do a 3 to 5. Again, you want to space them out where you can hopefully get to them relatively closely. But again, if this is a pillar you want to run with, do not limit your thinking that you can only do 1 a week or 1 a month. The facts and the reality are, the purpose of an open house is not necessarily to sell that listing. More than likely, it is to find your next buyer. That being said, stats also show that less than 0.5% of properties that are in or open houses are held, less than 0.5% will actually, a buyer will come in who's unrepresented and will purchase that house, represented or not. Okay. So, and I know that as of spring of 2025, we have some new regulations, if you will, about what's got to be signed prior to showing homes and whether it applies to open houses or not, and all of that stuff. So just again, depending on what state you are in, and the state of confusion does count, you need to make sure that you are aware of what your individual regulations are within that footprint, and then also check with your broker if you need any better clarification. Kendra, I see you got your hand popped up. Got a question?
Yes, I did. And good afternoon, and thank you for all that you're doing.
Oh,
I
you're
do have
welcome.
a question. So we know that about 1% or a little bit less than 1% of the unrepresented buyers actually buy that house. But what's the percentage of unrepresented buyers that attend open houses that agents are able to convert at a later date. I mean, do we have other stats about unrepresented buyers that attend open houses?
You know what? I don't, and here's the reason why. And I'm gonna check in with Kevin or everybody else that may have a better number, or even know if there is a number. The challenge is they will lie. I know you're shocked. I get it. I get it. I get it. But oftentimes, even if they are represented by an agent, they will come in, and when asked, they will say yes or they will say no. Or if they're not, they will say yes just to keep you off their back. So I don't know of any, I'm going to say, accurate stats. Kevin, let me ask you, do you know of any accurate stats on that?
It's still too new because we had such a great change in how we were doing business. We weren't really focusing on unrepresented buyers before August the 17th. But once we got to that change in the NAR settlement and all that kind of stuff, now we're starting to look at that. And it's not even a year yet. But NAR's got some really good statistics. If you go to facts.realtor, you'll get all kinds of great data on what's going on with these buyers, whether represented or not. And I agree with you. It's not that they lie, it's just they don't tell you the whole truth, right? I mean, because they don't want you bugging them and all that kind of stuff. But now everybody's asking them to sign an agreement, so they figure I got to pick somebody. It might as well be the one that asked me first.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. All right. Thank you for that, Kevin. So Kendra, I hope that helps. Again,
It
it's clear
does.
as mud on that one. So,
It
but
does.
you gotta step back. First thing you ask is, what is the purpose of you doing the open house? Most of the time, it's not to sell that property. And then the other thing, and I know I'm gonna, step on toes somewhere, but you know what? Y'all give me permission to be blunt and honest, tell you what you need to know, not always what you want to hear. Remember that? So here it comes. There is a double-edged sword when it comes to open houses. The one thing, if the homeowner is still living in the house, it is putting their personal belongings at risk of being stolen. It's putting their personal property at risk of being broken into at a later point in time. I do not know what the stats of those are, but I do know that it happens. So there is a concern not only for the agent's safety, but for the safety and protection of the seller's personal items in the home. So whether you like this or not, I'm going to share this with you, and then we're going to go through the good, better, best. When I was a full-time active agent and took a listing, one of the things I discussed, because in my presentation, when I went through the page that what you guys have now is, my promise to them is bum, 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 bum. And then at the end, I would ask them, may I have your permission to be blunt and honest with you and tell you what you need to know, and maybe not always what you want to hear. Are you okay with that? I was never told no. It was like, oh, absolutely, we expect that. Great. All right, moving on. I would get to the page where we talk about how we're going to customize the marketing strategy for their individual property. Because I would market a $300,000 townhome different than I would a $600,000 home or a $1.1 million home with a 360-degree view and all the bells and whistles on the world. So I will look and identify where the buyer pool is going to be for their property. That being said, I would then ask them, let's talk about open houses. Okay, remember you just gave me permission to be blunt and honest with you, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. Okay, well, here it comes. The purpose of an open house, statistically, is not to sell this property. Less than 0.5% ever get sold from an open house. Typically, the purpose of an open house is for me to find my next client, because I'm hoping buyers are going to come in that aren't represented, and I can razzle them and dazzle them and get them to use me as we move forward. My concern with that is I am putting your home and your personal belongings at risk, having people coming into the home that we really don't know who they are. We can ask them to sign in. We can ask them to complete a survey. What I cannot do is get their driver's license, fingerprint them, and have a backup. Unfortunately, I've got horror stories that I won't even share with you. That being said, my personal recommendation, Mr. Seller, Miss Seller, would be let's not do an open house unless the property's vacant. I would rather focus my energy, which is again part of my job, is to find a ready, willing, and able buyer. If they are ready, willing, and able, more than likely, they're already working with a real estate professional. They're already under contract to and have representation. That being said, that's where I would rather focus my target and my effort is to make sure every agent, breathing or not breathing, knows about your property. And if they've got a ready, willing, and able buyer, then yes, we want to get them in to look at it. But I don't necessarily, and again, it depends on the property, the location. But I would, again, this is my personal how I did it. I would let my sellers make the decision as to whether or not they wanted an open house or not. And I know that goes completely against how some of you operate, and I'm okay with that. This is a great business that you get to choose how you want to function to a certain degree within that. I have seen and heard the horror stories of jewelry being taken out of jewelry boxes or off dressers, drawers opened, money or collectibles, lifted out of them. I've heard the horror stories of a bunch come in, they distract the agent, somebody lifts the car keys off the little hook on the wall, and the brand new BMW takes a drive out of the driveway in the middle of the night. I've heard the stories of agents getting attacked and harmed at an open house, pushed down the stairs, assaulted, locked in a closet. I've heard the stories of windows being left ajar so that the people could sneak back in later and rob the place. I've been there, done this. Well, unfortunately, never happened to me, but I've heard the stories that are out there. So I would not tell my client all the horror stories, but I would let them decide whether that was something they wanted or not. Now, a couple of times they said, you know what? We're good. Your call, doesn't matter. In the early days, I used to do the open houses. Then later, when I went, wait a minute, I want a ready, willing, and able buyer, because again, I wasn't going to represent a dual side anyway. So if I'm the listing agent on the house and somebody comes in, decides, they want to buy it, I'm not going to represent them anyway. I made a business decision early on, and yes, I would tell my clients this, that I would not do double into transaction because it's the number one reason agents got sued. And also too, because I was building my business towards a repeat and referral marketing plan. I never wanted my client to look at me and wonder whose best interest did I have, Kevin's side or Andy's side, because at some point in time, that thought is going to cross their mind. So in educating the consumer on how the business of real estate works, I would give them enough of the downside of open houses to let them decide, and then say, based off that, now, because I want a ready, willing, and able buyer, I absolutely want to get other agents or brokers in here. I would love to do a broker's open. Okay. The client is entrusting you not only to protect their current home and their personal belongings, but also to market their property to the pool of potential buyers. So based off that, that is how I would do it. Now, even if I'm doing a broker's open, I would still do exactly some of these same things. And we're going to go through them. I would still absolutely handle it that way. Now, that being said, let's go through the good, better, best. Doing a good open house or broker's open, you pick the date, you show up, you put out a sign, you have a sign-in sheet, and hope for the best. Wing and a prayer. Okay. Let's take it up a notch. To do a better open house or broker's open, you would put the sign out a day or two ahead, letting it be known that there's going to be an open house or a broker's open. You have flyers in the flyer box. And again, I realize out here there's not as many used because of the weather and the rain. It can rain at a moment's notice and wipe them all out. But I would have a couple of flyers in the flyer box attached to the stand that says open house Saturday, 10 to 12. Or if we're doing a broker's open, I'd specify the broker's open. The sign-in sheet, all right, you can do a better open house. Yeah, okay, you can have a sign-in sheet, but we all know that that's bogus information. And then I would have maybe another handout once they came in. I would maybe provide light refreshments, but I don't want the kids running through eating chocolate and dropping chocolate cookie crumbs or chocolate, cupcake crumbs all through the white carpeting. I'm just saying there. Okay. Now, doing the best open house in a good, better, best. Here's where you can knock it out of the park. You can invite the looky-loo neighbors. Now, when I remember I was teaching the first class on this here at Samson, somebody in the audience said, "You really want the looky-loo neighbors in there?" And I said, "You're darn right I do." Because guess what? Sometimes they're looking because they're getting ready to list their house and they've not hired an agent yet. Okay. It has happened to me on several occasions when I was doing open houses or even the brokers open, and I invite some of the neighbors over. They were impressed with what I had for handouts or, how it was handled. They hung on to my card and said, they're not planning on moving anytime soon, but in case they ever did. And a year and a half later, I'm getting a call from the neighbor on Pine who says, "I don't know if you remember me, but I lived across the street and up the hill on Pine there in El Cajon because I'm the house on the hill." He just got a magnificent job offer. They're going to leave San Diego and they needed to sell the house. They had taken my business card from a year and a half before and had it in the junk drawer in the kitchen. And when I got there, it was on the table and I had to giggle to myself because it looked a little dog-eared, but they'd hung on to it because they were impressed with what they saw at the other open house I did. Okay. So yes, you do want the neighbors to come in. Stats and studies also have shown that once a property goes on the market, let's say early spring, there is a potential of 3 to 5 more listings potentially available in the immediate area. So if they were getting their house prepped and thinking, okay, we need to sell, we maybe want to list it in May or June if the kids get out of school, and you're doing one in April, you may, again, if you want to invite them in, they can come check it out, get to know them, blah, blah, and it can go from there. So that is a possibility as well. In the better category, if I were doing an open house, I used to have these little postcards made or just a little, quarter sheet. And I would put on there and I would staple the little mini 100 grand candy bars. And you can either have it typed out or you can handwrite it for all you care. If you need 100 grand or more, I've got someone who may be able to help you. And I'd have the lender information on the back of the postcard. There you go. I would also have other property options. Now, I know this falls now into a can you really do that question if you're going to be providing other potential properties. Now, what I would do is I never listed the address. If I was doing an open house on a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, and I'm just making these numbers up, 1,800 square foot, I would find other 4 to 5 bedrooms, 3 to 4 bath, 18 to 2,200 square foot in the radius of about 5 miles. I'd have a picture of the house, would not give the address. I would just say, similar bedrooms and bathrooms in the immediate area or within a 5-mile radius. If this property that you're looking at doesn't meet your needs, these might. What it does is it lets them see a visual that the one they're looking at in the open house is not the only option available. So that can be an option. You always want to, obviously, if you're going to be doing an open house, advertise in social media, whatever, however you want to do it as well. Here's a common missed step. I would make sure that I would do a notice and then ask the homeowner to post it on their social media about the open house. Again, the more people that know about it, the better off. Obviously, a property boost, any of those things are all good options. I also had a flyer entitled "It's Showtime." Oh, wait, we now are making that available to you, our Samson agents. It's showtime, and it was a basic flyer to the homeowner, letting them know, confirming we're going to do the open house, this date, this time. Here's some things we need you to do ahead of time, in prepping the house. And one of them was if there was a dog, making sure the dog poop was picked up in the backyard. Because has it happened that didn't happen? And a visitor came in, roamed through the backyard, stepped in the poop and dropped the poop, brought the poop in on their shoes, in the house, on the carpet. Yes, it has happened. So we would remind them it's showtime and provide tips to the homeowner. Now, on a few occasions, I would do an open house for another agent. Now, it was a couple of times there were emergencies in their life. They had to leave immediately and they needed me to, to cover for them. Open house was already planned. I said, absolutely. I had my showtime little flyer and I would get it to the homeowner ahead of time and would often stop in ahead of time just to introduce myself to that homeowner with the comment is there's been, Kevin's got an emergency, has got to go out of town. I know that he told you already, but I'm going to be doing the open house. I just wanted to stop in, say hello. Sometimes I wouldn't even go in the house unless they invited me in. But they were able to see my ugly little face and knew, and I would hand them the flyer at that time. Okay. Now, instead of the sign-in sheets, because we all know those don't work, Mickey and Minnie Mouse, I swear to God, goes to more open houses than anybody I ever know. And, they got the big hand and they have the big pencil and they kind of scribble like this and you can't read what they put on there anyway. But the joke to that is, Mickey and Minnie Mouse do a lot of open houses. Here's what I would do instead. The open house evaluation. And yes, it is available in Samson University. It is available Cardinal Nest under resources. It's also available on my website under bonus handouts. It's there as well. I'm going to double check, make sure it is. But I know it's in resources. The open house evaluation, the logic behind that is once they start writing, they will continue to write. What does everybody have? An opinion. And most people really like to give their opinion. So this open house evaluation form is an absolute gem. There you go. I would have them printed out. I would have them on a clipboard with a pen on it. And I'd say, hey, thanks for coming in. I hope you enjoy previewing the house. I have a favor to ask. And they go, oh, okay. What do you need? The homeowner has asked for some feedback. So with that, will you do me a favor? Fill this out as you go through the property. And then as a thank you for your feedback, I'm going to have a drawing at the end of the day for a couple small gift cards. Oh yeah, sure, I can do that for you. So there, again, most of it is just, circling it and scoring it. I'm getting their opinion, but once they start writing, they then continue to write their name, their phone number, their email. And then the last section is, are you just browsing, looking to buy a home? We need lender information, investing. Are you looking for an investment property? Or, are you needing to sell your home or other? It's all right on here. There you go. This is way more valuable than some scribble in a book. I would always then, based off this, when they handed it to me on the way back out, because again, they got my clipboard. And I take it and I let them know I'm doing a couple of drawings at the end of the day, just for some thank you, small gift cards, but I wanted to make sure that I could clearly read their name and their phone number and their email to make sure that obviously if they win, I want to be able to, contact them to get them their gift card. Okay. Now, yes, I would have sometimes $10 or $20. It could be Starbucks. Frankly, I would do Wawa or Sheetz because it can get them a drink and a gallon of gas. Okay. If they're out previewing properties or whatever, I would have no problem, especially if I thought there was a potential of them being a future client. And it has paid off big time. So that was just how I did it. I would get their information, I'd get their feedback, and I'd go, great, okay, so what you marked the carpeting and the flooring as needing to replace. Was there a particular area that stood out? So you're asking them something specific based off what they wrote up here. And then you thank them for their feedback. You indicated the price you felt was too high. How did what was your thought behind that assessment? Again, you're getting some feedback from them. This then allows you to provide that information to the homeowner. If it is not selling and you're getting all of these comments back, either from a broker's open or from an open house, that the price is not correct or the yard's not appealing or something's going on in there, you now have the, I'm going to say, sweet ammunition back to sit down with the homeowner and say, here we've had, X number of people come through. I've had 12 of my colleagues come through as well. Here is their feedback. Here are their thoughts. It's coming from them, not from you. So if you're not comfortable in having those difficult conversations, that is your saving grace. So it's the open house evaluation. The next thing I would have to do a best open house was, again, we already talked about the door prizes. They can be $5, $10. They don't have to be massive and elaborate. Then the other thing that I used to do was, once they left, and sometimes I would do it even before I left the house. Back in the olden days when we could actually get their mailing address, I would sometimes just write a card. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate any other feedback, blah, blah, blah. Thank you for coming by. If I can be of any further help, and just now, obviously we're getting their email addresses, and I would do a quick email back to them. And in the subject line, I would just put thank you. The body of it, again, all you need is a couple sentences. Thank you for stopping by the property today. It was nice to meet you. I wish you luck in your house hunting. You indicated you were already working with another agent. I do not want to interfere in that relationship at all. If you need more information on this property, have your agent contact me. or if there's anything else I can help you with, you know how you can reach me. Short, sweet, to the point. Now, a couple of times when I did that and that paid off, a day or two later, I got a call from a gal that had been in, and she proceeded to share that of all the open houses she went to, she had never gotten any type of follow-up from any of the agents ever. And she says, I have to confess, I'm not looking for a property for myself. My brother is an investor who buys and flips. He is not pleased with the agent he's been working with. He does 3 to 5 properties a year. I'm his advanced research team. I come out to the properties to see what may be a good match for him. You are the first agent ever that has followed up with a kind, just simple thank you. I told my brother he would like to meet you. When can we meet? Okay. So we met, and sure enough, he did a handful of flips every year. So now I became his preferred go-to source. Why? Because I sent a stupid thank you. I didn't think it was so stupid when I had to take all those dang checks to the bank and deposit them after transactions close, but you get the point. Okay. All right. So good, better, best. The thank you follow-ups, don't underestimate it. I always made sure that, again, a thank you back to the homeowner was done as well. In the follow-up after an open house, because I've given them their showtime, I would make sure that when it was all done, the front door was secured. I would make a round of the house and check all doors, deadbolts and locks on exterior doors, and windows. I would then email the homeowner or text them when I was leaving and just say, hey, we had a great open house, or, we had a good open house, or whatever. For your safety, I did make the rounds, and it does not appear anything's been left ajar. Please, when you come home, will you double check everything for me? And then let me know everything's okay. Because have windows been left unlocked? Yeah, they have. Where someone comes in and just lifts them and comes on in. All right. So they appreciate that as well, that extra little TLC. And I'll bet you most agents don't even give that a second thought. Okay. Go above and beyond. Be the Uncola. Do what other agents are too lazy to do and knock it out of the park. Okay. So some of the bright ideas that can go into a great or a best open house is the VIP hour or the VIP time of neighbors or whatever. Sometimes you can also, if you're going to be doing one, and if it's an area that has the potential of a yard sale as well, you can invite the neighbors, but ask, by any chance, are any of you thinking about doing a yard sale? Because if we can do a yard sale and the open house, I can drive traffic, you can drive traffic. Just give it some thought. When it pays off, will it pay off every time? No, because nothing works every time. But if it does, it is golden for sure. We've talked about the $100,000. Again, great little thing. We talked about the follow-ups. One other thing I used to do for fun is I would put a dollar scratcher lottery ticket on a flyer that says, if this home is not right for you and you happen to win the lottery, I've got other possibilities for you. Now, we used to put other pictures of other houses on there. You could literally go in and pull clip art of other houses in various kind of price ranges based off where your footprint is at. That would be okay. But what you're doing is you're giving them a lottery ticket with just in case you win. And again, it costs you $1. It allows you to stand out. It allows you to be creative and different. The Uncola, all good. Okay. One thing I do want to share with you. If you are going to do an open house, traditionally, I know that people would often do balloons. Balloons are getting expensive and they pop, or the kids grab them and run off with them. What I would do is, and they're all out right now. Walmart has them. Target, I think, may have them. A lot of your other stores have them. Your Hobby Lobby, of course, have them. Five Below have them. The pinwheels that spin in the wind, I would rather you spend $10 on a couple of pinwheels than balloons at $50 any day of the week. Those pinwheels can be used over and over again, and you get one of the little clamps, kind of like this. Let me see if I can hold it up. You can see it. Okay. These little clamps, they're bigger ones, and you just clamp the handle of the spinner onto the sign, and it will obviously, it spins in the wind and it's colorful and it creates motion. That's why they use the balloons. It's color, it's movement, it's to catch somebody's attention. But again, you can spend $50 on balloons and they're popped before you even get started. I would rather, if this is going to be an avenue that you're going to do, take a few bucks and invest in some of the pinwheels. You'll be glad you did, because again, it provides movement, color to catch their attention. There you go. All right. Let's see what else I got on my list. We already talked about the showtime, tips for the open house, follow up afterwards. There you go. There's a good, better, best. What I like to do too is, instead of having food that, again, if it doesn't get used, you got to take it home and eat it, or it goes to waste, or they've eaten it and the chocolate crumbs go in the carpet. That's not always a good impression. A better way to handle that is a little tiny gift bag. You can get them at Dollar Tree, usually a pack of 3 or 4 of the little smallest ones for $1.25. You can color coordinate it if you want. I'd have the small bottle of water in there. I would have maybe a couple of butterscotch or the individually wrapped hard candies, mainly just to wet the whistle, in the bag as well. I may even go as far as adding an individually wrapped package of crackers, or the little cookies, cheese and crackers type thing. You can buy them at Walmart, Target, any grocery store, or something, just again, a small snack-um of individually wrapped would go in the bag as well. I absolutely would have my newsletter in there. And that would pretty much be it. So a drink, a snack, a hard candy, my newsletter for sure. And there you go. Sometimes I even got creative and would do a sticker, which is nothing more than a label. And it says happy house hunting. I'd stick it on there. And again, it was a take and go. It was a grab and go. When they turned their survey back in is when I would give them their snack bag as they were leaving. There you go. They don't need to be eaten in the house. Homeowners appreciated it as well, and it gave them just that little boost. I'm going to say that bag, all start to finish, was less than $5. If I had 15 of them and I only had 8 people come to the open house, the others got to come home and got used the next time. So there was never any waste of food or drinks that were mixed up. Now, I will tell you, the only time that I went above and beyond, I had a $1.1 million listing on the hill that had a complete circular view, and they had a peach tree out back, and the peaches were in bloom. And with the owner's permission, I got peaches off the tree. They actually picked them for me when they knew I was wanting them. We made peach smoothies. And when the guests came in, I had these little, fancy plastic glasses with a little stem on them, and they got handed a sample of peach smoothies. And then I would happen to mention, oh, by the way, the peach trees are out back. Clever, unique. They loved it. Did that with lemonade one time because it was a lemon tree out in the backyard. I've done it with oranges. I've done it with, whatever fruits happen to be. And I know you guys don't have as much of fruits out here, in bloom in the backyard, but find what is unique from that neighborhood or that yard and offer a little something. I know agents who have gone above and beyond and literally went to the local pizza place or the local taco shop or the local, little mom and pop restaurant and said, hey, I'm doing an open house. I'd love to promote, your business as well. Do you have a flyer? Do you have, are you running any ads where you're offering somebody a discount that I can incorporate into my marketing stuff as well? And if they've got it, they're more than happy to. Okay. So that is, again, taking it from good, better, best to off the Richter scale. Popcorn is another good one. Again, you can buy the small packs of microwave popcorn. I'd put a label on it that says, thanks for popping by. I'd have my name, my information, and then I would either hand those out or I would include them inside the little goodie bags. And, sometimes I would even put, when you kick back later and review all your properties you've seen today, here's a snack. Thanks for popping by. There you go. Okay. Again, the beauty of that is if I didn't use all that I had, I got to use them on the next open house or the next broker's open that was being done. Okay. All right. So those are some tips from the good, better, best categories. If open houses are in fact something that you are absolutely love doing and you want to really maximize it in your footprint, go for it. Have that conversation. Again, you get to make some business decisions, whether you want to do an open house, whether you want to do a broker's open. If you're going to do an open house, make sure you've got safety precautions built in. If it is in a rural type area, you absolutely want to make sure you've got somebody with you. You can have, a lot of times a lender will come and be with you as well. A lot of times a lender will actually do flyers for you, or just another agent just for safety and numbers. But also take a look in your footprint. How well are open houses being attended to? Now, Central and Northern Virginia, DC, Maryland, some of those pockets are getting 10, 20, 30 people coming to an open house. There's other areas further south, Central, Richmond, possibly over to West Virginia even. Some of those pockets are barely getting anybody to come. So you want to do a teeny bit of homework to find out what's happening in that footprint. Obviously, if they are not your listings, you can offer to do an open house for another Samson agent. I can't believe I got to say this. No, you cannot go to company XYZ and do one of their open houses. Kevin's shaking his head no, because if he shakes it like this, it's going to fall off. So no, you cannot do an open house of another brokerage's listing. Also, if you are licensed in Virginia, no, you cannot do open houses or show property in DC, Maryland, or West Virginia, unless, of course, you are licensed in those states. Can't believe I had to say that, but I did. Okay. Can't make this stuff up. So with that, hopefully that is giving you some good do's and don'ts. If there's any questions, let me jump over the chat box real quick to see if anybody dropped anything in there that I need to take a look at. Oh, let me mention one other thing too. When I did open houses, I also had a box or a tote bag in my car with the basics of stuff. Ask the homeowner whether they want shoe coverings put on people. Some do, some don't care. I'd have some with me. I would also have, just for bells and wiggles and giggles, always toilet paper, always paper towel, always, the disinfectant wipes.
And so
Hand soap, yeah. If I needed to put a sign up or any type of post or anything, down the ground, get yourself a little rubber mallet from Dollar Tree's got them. Walmart carries them, just a little rubber mallet, just to go toot, toot, toot to get it in the ground a little bit. Give that some thought as well. If you are going to do lots of open houses and you like the idea of the pinwheels, the garden shops right now have those stab in the ground, what they call a shepherd's hook. You can attach a pinwheel to that shepherd hook. It goes in the ground real easy and it pulls up real easy. So give that some thought. I always had gloves just in case I had to dig in the dirt for any reason. Nothing worse than ruining a fresh manicure. I'm just saying. And then,
Also, you also don't leave fingerprints on the weapon.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay. Yeah, you want to be able to wipe them clean. Also too, if you've got a property that you've listed and it's on the market for more than 30 seconds and it's raining, or you've got a buyer that's looking at a property, go visit the house in the rain. I always had a pair of extra shoes and an umbrella in the car. And here's why. I always made sure that I told my client, if it rains, we're going. Because I wanted them to be able to see the water runoff in the rain. It rained here fast enough. You got some regularity to it. Go see it. But in California, San Diego, when it rained, things flooded. The ground there is not designed to soak up a lot of the water. The schematics of the drain lines are not proficient to roll the water away. I can't tell you, there were a couple of times that when I took my client in the pouring rain to go see the property and we saw where the water was rolling to, we were able to go and backed off because there was issues and flooding. So, again, your job is to help educate the consumer on how the business of real estate works and things that they need to look at and be aware of when they're buying. And water runoff is absolutely one of them. Even down in Ladysmith Village, where I'm at, there's a couple of houses. I don't know what the deal is with them, but there is always the sump pumping water out from, I'm going to say, the basement area or below ground, and it's running between the two houses out to the sidewalk area. I wouldn't touch either one of those houses with a 10-foot pole. I would never want to list it, and I would never recommend it to a buyer because whatever's going on, there's a problem. So the more you learn, the more you know, the better you become at being that advocate for the consumer. Because remember, your job is to be their advocate, their consultant, their realtor, which handles the paperwork, and the PPS, the professional problem solver. There you go. So did anybody have an aha takeaway from this that you went, I didn't know that? Anything you want to share? Kevin, anything pop into mind that you went,
I get epiphanies the entire hour. So yes. I did post a comment about the bathrooms. I always hated people would come into the open house and then, can I use your bathroom? No, I can't give you permission for that because it's not my bathroom, for one thing. But I would always say things like it's busted until 4 o'clock, and then it'll fix itself at that point. So, but I think it's rude. And Del Mar, where I am, right where I'm from, they were coming in from the beach, right? Oh, we got to find a bathroom. It's like, well, go use the porta potty or something. But anyway,
yeah,
that was good. I like.
Yeah, that was a unique area. Yeah, for sure. Okay. All right, my friends. Well, that takes us around the clock to our full hour. I know that was a lot of information that we dumped on you. Again, keeping in mind the foundation, why are you doing the open house to start with? Be very crystal clear on that. Be transparent with your consumer, the good, the bad. Let them decide. You can do open houses for other Samson agents, just not any other brokerage's agent. And no, you cannot do an open house in an area in which you are not licensed. So
do not let other brokers do your open house.
Correct. Correct. If you got a listing and your homeowner agrees to open houses and you can't or won't, that's fine. Do not let another brokerage agent do an open house at your listing. And have we seen this done? Oh, heck yes. Does it cause our head to go? Yeah, it does. So, all right. It is a great pillar. It is a great niche. Deep dive into it. If you want to re-listen to this recording will be up on the Listen and Learn channel on my website within 24 hours. And also we have some additional training for open houses on Samson University. You can just Google open houses, or you can go to my channel, Google or search for the open house within the search button within Samson University. There's lots of information there for you. The handouts are available for you as well. With that, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to give me a screen back and I will answer them as soon as I possibly can. With that, all right, go be wonderful, go be awesome, be unique, be the Uncola, and be amazing. I'll see you in the next session.
Thank you, Lynn.
Okay,
Hey,
thank
Lynn.
you.
Thank you, Lynn.
Lynn,
Thank you,
Thanks,
thank
Lynn.
you.
Lynn,
Yeah.
yeah. 3 quick things. One,